Welcome, rare gems. Some people are born to follow the rules. Others are born to rewrite them. Sigma females fall into that second category. They're not loud about it, they don't make a scene. But if you watch closely, you'll notice something different about them. They keep going no matter what. When everyone else folds under pressure, the Sigma female leans in. When things fall apart, she doesn't panic, she adapts. Why? Because giving up simply isn't in her DNA. This video isn't just about being strong, it's about being strategically unbreakable. If you're the type who's tired of pretending everything's okay when it's not, if you've carried yourself through things no one knows about, if you're wired to think for yourself and walk alone when necessary, then you're already living the Sigma life, whether you realize it or not. Sigma females aren't interested in impressing the world. They're interested in building a life that makes sense to them. One that doesn't involve settling, shrinking, or surrendering just because the path gets hard. They don't keep going because they feel fearless. They keep going because they've earned their scars and don't plan on wasting them. So if you've ever felt like the misunderstood one, the underestimated one, or the one who has no choice but to figure it out on her own, keep watching. This is your fuel, your mirror, your reminder that you're not alone and that giving up is never the answer. Stick around till the end. This one's for you. Number 1. Quitting means they'd have to rely on someone else, and that's unacceptable. For Sigma females, giving up isn't just a decision, it's a risk, a dangerous one, because the moment they quit, it means handing over control. And if there's one thing they've learned the hard way, it's this. People are not always dependable. Promises break, support fades, help comes with strings. And often the ones who say, "I got you," are the same ones who disappear the minute things get hard. So no, it's not pride that keeps her going. It's self-preservation. She's been let down enough times to know better than to build her life on someone else's backup plan. She's seen what happens when people grow comfortable knowing you'll fall back on them. They stop respecting your struggle, and they start expecting your surrender. And Sigma females, they don't play that game. When life hits hard, she doesn't run to someone for rescue. She rolls up her sleeves. Because relying on someone else, even temporarily, can feel more dangerous than staying in the fight. At least when she's the one calling the shots, she knows the price. She knows what's real. There's no hidden agenda, no emotional IOUs. The truth is, Sigma females aren't trying to be tough for the sake of being tough. They just understand the weight of dependence. They know that when you rely too much on others, you lose pieces of yourself. You shrink, you wait, you compromise. And that's a slow death they refuse to live through again. So even when their energy's low, when the road looks pointless, when everything screams, "Just give up," they don't. Not because they're superhuman, but because quitting would mean trusting someone else to carry the dream they were meant to carry alone. And if you know anything about a Sigma female, she'd rather crawl alone than be carried the wrong way. Number 2. They're willing to look crazy, obsessive, or ruthless, because giving up looks worse. Sigma females have made peace with one uncomfortable truth. Not everyone is going to get them. Their intensity, misread. Their silence, judged. Their obsession with the goal, called too much. People might label them as cold, dramatic, difficult, or even unstable, but guess what? They don't care. Because to them, looking crazy for going after what matters is still 1,000 times better than looking back with regret. They'll risk being misunderstood, misjudged, even left behind, but they won't risk betraying themselves. That's the one line they don't cross. See, when a Sigma female locks in on something, a vision, a path, a calling, it consumes her. She's not half in, she's all or nothing. She doesn't need everyone to understand why she's cutting people off, staying up late, working in silence, or isolating herself. Because most people aren't wired like her. Most people settle too soon, quit too early. She refuses to be one of them. So yeah, she might look intense from the outside, but she's free on the inside. Free from pretending, people-pleasing, or playing small just to make others comfortable. She'll choose discipline over distraction, purpose over popularity, long-term peace over short-term approval. Because the only thing worse than being misunderstood is living with the guilt of knowing she could have made it, but gave up right before the breakthrough. Let them call her crazy. Let them say she's obsessive. Let them say she's ruthless. They don't have to understand her grind, because they're not the ones living with her potential. She'll risk the world thinking she's lost her mind, as long as she knows she hasn't lost herself. Number 3. They're obsessed with completion, not just victory. Sigma females don't chase shiny endings. They're not obsessed with winning just for the bragging rights, applause, or some picture-perfect outcome. What really drives them is one thing: completion. The need to finish what they started, to close the loop, even if it burns them along the way. For them, leaving something half done is mental torture, an open tab in their brain they can't shut down. They'll lie awake at night not thinking about success, but about unfinished business. The project they dropped, the conversation they avoided, the path they didn't see through. That stuff haunts them far more than failure ever could. Because it's never really been about being the best. It's about being whole. About following through on something that mattered to them at one point, even if it's messy, even if no one claps, even if the ending isn't what they hoped for. The fact that they finished it, that they stayed true to their word, their vision, their gut, that's what gives them peace. This is why they don't give up halfway through things. If they walk away, it eats at them. It loops in their head like an unfinished song, out of tune and unresolved. They'll replay it over and over, not because they want the win, but because they needed that chapter closed properly, on their terms. Sigma females are wired for follow-through. And even if finishing something means walking straight into disappointment, they'll still do it. Why? Because quitting without closure feels worse than failure. They don't fear loss. They fear incompleteness. So when they commit, it's with their whole chest. Start to finish. No shortcuts. No ghosting their own goals. Victory is nice. But closure? That's sacred. And they'll fight like hell for it. Number 4. Giving up would feel like betraying the hardest version of themselves. Sigma females don't just give up, because quitting would be like turning their back on the very person who fought to get them here. That earlier version of themselves, the one who crawled through hell, the one who put everything on the line, who faced pain and failure and still kept moving forward, she's not someone they forget. She's the foundation of who they are now. Every scar, every setback, every moment of doubt that they've conquered, they carry it with them like badges of honor. To give up now, after everything she's been through, would feel like a betrayal of that woman, the one who kept getting up when the world was against her, the one who learned how to walk through fire without ever asking for a handout. That woman is in every ounce of their strength now, and Sigma females are fiercely loyal to her. It's not about pride. It's about respect. Respect for the journey. Respect for the pain that's been endured and the lessons learned the hard way. Quitting now would invalidate everything that came before, and Sigma females aren't in the habit of dishonoring themselves, especially the most battle-worn version of themselves. They know the struggle, they know the grind, and that's why they cannot stop now. Because if they quit, they'd be saying that everything that came before was for nothing. And Sigma females don't do that. Not to themselves, and certainly not to the woman who crawled through hell to get to this point. Every step forward is a promise kept to that version of themselves who refused to stay down, who believed, even when no one else did. They owe her. And they'll never dishonor her by giving up, because loyalty to themselves means never abandoning the warrior they've already become. Number 5. Their plans are quiet, but their drive is violent. Sigma females move in silence. Not because they're uncertain, but because they're focused. You won't hear them announce their every move or post emotional breakdowns online. While the world is loud, noisy, and addicted to being seen, Sigma females are too busy sharpening the blade. And when they finally strike, it's not random. It's surgical. On the outside, they seem calm, even a bit cold, unbothered, detached. But don't mistake that quiet for passivity. What's happening underneath is pure fire. There's a ruthless engine running inside them. It doesn't stall, it doesn't give up, it doesn't care who doubts them, it just recalibrates and keeps moving. When their plans fall apart, and trust me, they do, they don't collapse. They go dark for a bit. They shut the door, close the noise, and rebuild in private. No panic, no begging for support, just silence and adjustment. They rework the plan, not the dream. And that's what people don't get. The silence isn't weakness. It's control. While others waste energy explaining their every failure and hyping every small win, Sigma females stay locked in. Not because they are trying to prove something, but because they know real power doesn't need to be loud. Real power shows up in the results. They're not driven by ego or attention. They're driven by something deeper, that raw, relentless need to finish what they started, to prove to themselves, not the world, that they were right to believe in their vision. So yeah, their plans are quiet, but their drive, it's violent, calculated, cold-blooded, unstoppable. You might not see them coming, but when they arrive, you'll know exactly why they never needed to speak. Number 6, they don't need applause. They need alignment. Sigma females aren't out here trying to impress anybody. They don't need pats on the back or standing ovations. Praise is nice, sure, but it doesn't fuel them. What really keeps them going is something deeper: alignment. That internal craving to bring the life they imagine in their mind into the world they wake up to. They've got a blueprint in their head, quiet, detailed, specific. A certain way they want to live, feel, move, create. And until what they see matches what they feel is right, they can't rest. That mismatch between their inner world and outer reality? It's like an itch under the skin that never stops. That's what drives them, not validation, not noise, but the obsession with making it real. A lot of people chase applause. They want followers, trophies, attention. Sigma females, they'd rather have clarity. They'd rather build a life that makes sense to them, not one that looks good on paper. If something looks successful but feels fake, they'll walk away without hesitation. Because alignment isn't just about success. It's about truth. They don't care if the world doesn't get it. They don't care if it takes longer. They just want to look around one day and think, yeah, this feels like me. That moment, that quiet inner yes, that's worth more to them than any round of applause, so they keep going. Not because they need the world to clap, but because they owe it to themselves to see that inner vision through. To live in a space that feels like home to their soul. That's the win for a Sigma female. Not recognition, but alignment. And they'll chase that until the day it finally clicks. Number 7, they know the system is rigged, so they create their own rules. Sigma females figured it out early. The system wasn't built for them. The rules were never meant to protect them, uplift them, or even understand them. It was built to box them in. Be quieter, be softer, be more agreeable, follow the path, play nice, stay small. But here's the twist. They saw right through it. They don't waste time begging for a seat at someone else's rigged table. They build their own damn table. And that's exactly why they never give up. Because they're not waiting for permission, approval, or handouts. They know the game is already stacked, so they refuse to play it the way others do. While most people are trying to climb some broken ladder, a Sigma female is already off building her own staircase, quietly, strategically. Her version of success doesn't look like anyone else's, and it's not supposed to. She doesn't chase status or titles or applause. She chases freedom. Mental, emotional, financial, spiritual freedom. And that kind of freedom doesn't come from following a path. It comes from creating one. She's not rebelling just to rebel. She's rebelling because what's being offered isn't enough. It's too shallow, too fake, too small for who she knows she is becoming. People might not understand her choices. They might think she's difficult, distant, or too independent. Let them think that. Because while they're busy trying to fit in, she's quietly building something they'll one day wish they had the courage to start. And the reason she never gives up? Because her vision isn't tied to the rules. It's tied to her truth. You can't discourage someone who stopped asking for permission. You can't slow down someone who never planned to use the main road in the first place. That's the Sigma mindset. If the game is rigged, change the whole damn board. Number 8. Quitting would mean betraying the future version of themselves. Sigma females don't just live for the present. They're always moving with one eye on the future. Not the fantasy version, but the real, evolved version of themselves they're becoming. She's already in their mind, sharper, calmer, more free, unbothered, built from everything they're surviving right now. And quitting? That would mean looking that version of themselves in the eye and saying, "You're not worth it." Yeah, not happening. They've come too far, bled too much, stayed up too late, worked in silence while no one believed in the dream but them. And all of that wasn't just for now. It was for her, the woman they're growing into, the woman who will one day look back and say, "I'm proud of you for not giving up when it would have been so damn easy to." That future version is always watching. She's the one who shows up in quiet moments and whispers, "Keep going, I'm waiting." And Sigma females listen. See, most people stop because they get tired. Sigma females get tired too, exhausted actually. But the thought of betraying who they're meant to be, that's heavier than any hardship. They know every time they keep pushing, they're honoring the woman they haven't met yet, but will if they keep showing up. That's what makes them different. They don't push for applause. They push for alignment. So when it gets dark and the road gets lonely, they don't fold. Because quitting would mean lying to the woman who believed in them when no one else did. And they'd never do her like that. She's the reason they rise, the reason they don't quit, the reason they finish. Because every step forward says, "I haven't forgotten you, I'm coming." Number 9. Failure isn't a full stop, it's just another piece of data. Most people treat failure like a wall. They hit it, get hurt, and stop. But Sigma females, they treat failure like a mirror. It shows them what's off, what needs fixing, what didn't work, and then they move. No meltdown, no dramatic spiral, just analysis. They don't take failure personally because they know it's not about them. It's about the method. If the plan didn't work, it's the plan that needs changing. Not the dream, and definitely not their identity. See, the world teaches most people to fear failure. But Sigma females learn something different. Failure is feedback. Cold, clear, brutally honest feedback. And they love honest data, even when it stings. Why? Because it sharpens them. It gives them an edge. Every loss teaches them something no win ever could. While others are sitting in their feelings, Sigma females are already adjusting the blueprint. They ask different questions. What did I miss? What needs to shift? What do I try next? That's why they come back stronger, not louder, not angrier, just sharper. They don't crumble, they calculate. And the best part? You'll rarely see the process. Because Sigma females don't make failure public theater. They keep their rebuilds quiet. They process in private and return when the work is done. No announcements, just results. So when people say, "How is she still going after all that?" It's simple. She never saw failure as the end. Just another checkpoint, just another lesson, just another piece of data to make the next version of her more unstoppable. She's not failing. She's upgrading. And that's what sets her apart. She doesn't fear the fall because she knows how to rise with better data every single time. Number 10. They don't suffer from imposter syndrome. They suffer from underestimated syndrome. Imposter syndrome, that's not something Sigma females wrestle with. They don't walk into rooms doubting their worth or wondering if they belong. No, what they deal with is something entirely different. Being underestimated. They know who they are. They know what they bring. The problem isn't a lack of self-belief. It's that the world's too distracted, too shallow, or too intimidated to see it. People overlook them because they're quiet. Misread them because they don't boast. Underestimate them because they don't play loud, flashy games. But that's where the fire begins. Every time someone doubted them, every time they were passed over, dismissed, or ignored, they tucked that moment away like fuel. It doesn't break them, it builds them. While others second-guess themselves, Sigma females are calmly, silently getting better, learning, refining, sharpening. They don't need external validation to know they're powerful. But being underestimated, that's just the spark that makes the fire even hotter. And here's the twist. They like being underestimated. It gives them an edge. No one sees them coming. While people are busy underestimating her, she's already 5 steps ahead, plotting, preparing, evolving. So when the moment comes and she finally shows her full strength, the shock on people's faces, priceless. Sigma females don't walk around needing to prove themselves, but they will remind you if needed. They don't carry imposter syndrome because they never borrowed their power in the first place. It was built, earned, forged through silence and storms. So, go ahead, overlook her. Call her average, forgettable, too quiet, too distant. Just know, the moment you count her out is the moment she becomes unstoppable. Number 11. Giving up would mean the world was right about them, and they're not giving it that satisfaction. There's a quiet war inside every Sigma female. Not the kind you see, but the kind that fuels everything she does. She remembers the comments, the doubts, the way people looked at her like she was too much, not enough, or just plain wrong. They underestimated her, laughed at her ideas, tried to shrink her into something more digestible, and while she never showed it on her face, she never forgot. Giving up? That would mean they were right, that she really wasn't built for it, that she should have just played small and kept her head down, and that thought disgusts her more than failure ever could. So every time she keeps going, even when she's exhausted, doubting herself, or feels completely alone, it's not just about the goal anymore. It's a statement, a silent rebellion, a middle finger to everyone who ever counted her out. She doesn't need to scream, prove, or announce her moves. She lets her work speak. She lets her consistency speak. And when success comes, and it will, it won't be for validation. It'll be the quiet, undeniable proof that the world was dead wrong about her. Sigma females don't chase revenge. They don't have time to plot petty comebacks. Their focus is on the build, on becoming so solid, so undeniable, that even their silence becomes louder than anyone's criticism ever was. Because at the end of the day, they're not just fighting for a dream, they're fighting against a narrative. One that said they wouldn't make it, couldn't make it, or didn't deserve to make it. And every day they refuse to quit. They rewrite that story in bold, unshakable letters. Success isn't just the goal, it's the answer, and the only one they plan to give. Conclusion. Why Sigma females never give up. Here's the truth. Sigma females don't keep going because life is easy. They keep going because they've trained themselves to survive reality without sugarcoating it. They don't need applause, pity, or permission. They're not fueled by ego. They're fueled by something deeper, the need to live a life that actually means something to them. They've been doubted, dismissed, underestimated, and still showed up. Not because they had to, but because they refused to be anyone less than who they know they are. That quiet confidence, that fire behind their calm, that's not accidental. It's built from nights they couldn't sleep, days they felt invisible, and moments they wanted to quit but didn't. If you're watching this and you feel like one of them, then you probably are. Not because you're fearless, but because you choose to fight even while scared. Not because life hasn't knocked you down, but because you keep getting back up when no one's watching. Sigma females don't need to win by anyone else's standards. They just need to know they didn't abandon themselves. And that's why they never give up. Not because it's easy, but because they've come too far to go back now. So, if you're tired, keep going anyway. If you're doubting yourself, keep going anyway. You're not crazy for wanting more. You're not too much. You're just awake in a world that wants you asleep. Stay the course. Honor the woman who kept you standing. And remember, quiet doesn't mean weak. It means focused. That's the Sigma way. And it's exactly why you never quit. Thank you for watching the Rare Gems, and God bless you.